Okay, let's see. A little more light. Maybe what I really need to do. Oh, that works out a little better. Yeah, get ready for a bunch of stuff like that for me this year's art sound off. This, all right, it's a little closer. I'm better off looking at everything. Okay, so that's right. It is November, and it is time once again for the Art Sound Off Challenge. For those of you who don't know, is my audio even working? Only. Okay, so this is kind of what we're going to be dealing with this year. But let me first put things into context, and first let me explain for those of you new around here who I am and what Art Sound Off is. And I need a drink here. This is not product placement. This is what I grabbed. So, first off, for those of you who don't know, my name's Troy, pen name Troy A, screen name Shadowwingtronics. I run a website called BW Media Spotlight. It's about examining the art of storytelling to make myself a better storyteller. There are articles, there are comics, there's supposed to be videos, we'll be getting into that. And so every year, every November, a bunch of comic creators, which I technically am and is my main goal in life, we get together and we do this thing called the Art Sound Off Challenge. It was started by Jersey Drozd and Rob Stenzinger of the Leaning to Art cast, leaningtoart.com. And they do Leading to Art, which is a teaching site, and then the Leading to Art cast is kind of this companion piece podcast that they do usually every week, Thursday afternoons. And this year, I don't even know if they're taking part this year. Honestly, I haven't seen anything from them about Art Sound, but I haven't been able to catch up on Lean Artcast much this year because I haven't been able to catch up much of anything, which is weird. I mean, everybody's stuck home. I'm usually stuck home, so you would think, I'm in the perfect position to kind of be there to. I hope I'm even coming out here. I can't tell. This indicator on here is a bit weird. Anyway, I keep getting off track. So Art Sound Off, everybody gets together, we discuss story creation, we discuss our own methods, things we're thinking about, other projects that we might be doing, that kind of thing, which for me usually is the articles, the comics, and the videos. And I've kind of had this goal of trying to do a video a month, and I keep running into all kinds of issues on that front. All kinds of things stouting me every year. Something else to complain about. This year, the problem seemed to have been I've just been very tired lately. I haven't had a lot of the creative energies. And I think we all know why. 2020 has been a pain for everybody. Like, it still beats being stuck in the hospital, so this is still not overdoing 2016. It's not overdoing 2015 when I lost my mom. But it has pretty much beaten the snot out of everybody. And, I'm not going to go over who's to blame for what. I'm not going to talk, I don't really want to get into politics or any of that. Politics or medical issues or other stuff. But, there's a lot of things I think have been killing creativity for a lot of people. Everybody wants to speak out on this or that issue. And so that takes a priority over the story. You also have the problem with just everybody has got to hate somebody. There's been this huge we've been having these little rage things all over the place on social media, off social media, in the cities, off the cities. Um, and like I said, I'm not really going to go into all that. I want to try to. I've been trying to keep things light, but it's been tough for me too. Jake and Leon, which is the webcomic that I do every week on my site, has kind of run into a problem where, because current events play a role in the comic, because it's usually about current events in storytelling and what's going on out there. I know there's nothing to talk about, then I've got these other little jokes that I'll pull out, commentary or parody about storytelling in general, doing a parody about something I like. I've surprisingly have not done a Power Ranger parody in maybe a year or two. And but it's just been, everything's been wrapped around the 2020 plague, because you gotta be careful what words you use on YouTube now. So we'll call it the 2020 plague. Around all the hate wars that have been going on around the country and around the world, based on this and that and the other thing. And it's just like, I get it. I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna go into all that, but I think I've had to focus a bit on that when doing Jake and Leon. So when I do when I've been doing the comic, it's been a case where I've had to see what the characters are doing during the quarantine when they're all stuck home. I've had poor Beth scared because of all the stuff that's in the news and everything's going on. She's a little girl. And the adults aren't only doing much better. Fizbin just got in her spaceship, went into orbit for a few months. She's finally back. But when Connecticut started to open up again, I decided to send everybody back to the studio, which was only a couple weeks ago. Now they may be backtracking on that because surprisingly, with more people going out, there was a spike in COVID. Who knew? I said the word. YouTube's going to get mad at me now. But this is why I need a script. But I've kind of had to focus on that stuff. Finally, I just pushed back and said, the heck with it. I've had this idea for a comic that Jake and our buddy Max were working on called Hero Dude and Enemies. And I wanted to do a storyline about that. So for about 11 or 12 strips, it was about that. So I finally got away from talking about all the crud that's going on. Do you realize that I haven't heard any of the jokes about the usual election year jokes? We used to do these jokes about, well, I can't wait until the election year is over and we can stop listening to all these stupid electioneers and stuff. We ain't making that joke this year because it's not been the most annoying part of this year. Figure that. But actually, the stimulus kind of helped me a bit because when my computer died, I was able to get my new computer. It's not very expensive, but it will do the job. I had it confirmed with my friend who knows more about the inner workings of computers than I do, and he went over it, and it's going to do for the things I do, for what video work I do, and for the comic editing, and I'm not a heavy gamer, so it'll work well enough for that. And that's really all I'm worried about right now. I've only had one software that hasn't been able to keep up. The computer hasn't kept up with the Orville Interactive Fan Experience, or whatever the full title is. I had to drop it down to the lowest graphic level, period, and even then, it's a bit stuttery when I'm trying to walk around. So otherwise, I haven't had. The only problem I had is that a lot of my software is outdated. especially my video software is old. My image editor is fine because it was fine, and I keep getting ads to update, which wouldn't be such a bad thing. And then, of course, the comic front is Clip Studio Paint, which updates all the time. But this year is going to be, with Art Soundoff, I'm hoping that I can use this to kind of boost back some of my creative energies and trying to get myself to work on comics again, because I've got this year's Captain Yuletide. I've got the story up here. As I've said in previous Art Soundoffs, I don't write a script, so I would actually have to. So I actually have to. I script out sort of in the layout stage. For me, that's my script. So that'd be tough. If I ever work with an artist, they have to deal with the fact that I don't write a script. As soon as my head completes the story enough, at least, then I take and I go right to the layouts. That's always been just how I worked. I've tried writing a script before, and it just doesn't work that well with me. So that's why I got it. So I also want to try more different kinds of videos and stuff, and that's kind of what I'll be doing here. I have OBS Studio on here. If I ever do a thing where I'm working with other people, I'd probably switch to Streamlabs, but right now I'm not, so let me just understand the software. OBS is fine. I kind of at a point where I'm tired of making new accounts. So I'm going to be fooling around with that. I'm going to be fooling around with YouTube Studio. I'm going to be fooling around with another, with the camera program that came with the computer, with my video editor. So I'm going to be, seeing a lot of experimenting with me in this Art Soundoff as I start trying to work with this equipment. And at the same time, you also see still talking about stuff from the perspective of a creator, but also from the from the perspective of a critic and as a fan. Because these are kind of the way my brain works. My regular name is me as a fan, just enjoying stories. Troy A is me as a creator. Shadowing Tronics, which is probably be the majority of mindset I'm in. Not different personalities. I'm not that crazy. But these are kind of like my mindsets, and Shadowing Tronics has kind of become my reviewer mindset. So that's kind of where the perspective that I bring to Art Soundoff. This year I'm also going to be experimenting with OBS screen recording, different ways to use the camera, just because I like having options. And I think if I start experimenting, maybe it'll start putting ideas in my head and get my creative energies going. Meanwhile, I'm hoping to start Captain Yuletide this month so that I'm not scrambling. It would be nice to actually be on time this year. I know who my Captain Yuletide is. I know which elf I'm using. I know his story. I know what Bryce will be doing. That may be a subplot that I don't know yet. If I can fit into the comic, I'll know when I start making it if I can stick that in there or not. I may save that for another story with a different elf. Who knows? But so my Art Soundoffs are going to be a little weirder than everyone else's because of the experimenting and because I'm kind of fooling around with different things. But I hope that it'll be that the stuff that I do say is still interesting. If there are other people who are taking part, I will definitely be I will try to check this out. I have a huge backlog on YouTube, which is why I haven't kept up with the Lean Artcast or any of the other podcasts I listen to. I got a backlog on my DVR because I've been spending too much time having to take naps in the afternoon and being tired. I don't know what to do about that, but we're going to work through things, and hopefully by the time Art is done, I will finally be back in the groove. So I'm using Art Soundoff to get into the groove, to experiment, and to try to boost up my creativity again, which is what I really need. So, we're getting, so I already just passed the 15-minute mark. So if you're still here for my rambling, if you want to check out the stuff in written form, where usually I'm more coherent, usually less rambly because I can be, you can check out my website, bwspotlight.com. You can go to, if you want to follow the other Art Soundoff participants, Art Soundoff participants, you can go to Twitter and check out the hashtag Art Soundoff. Make sure you go to the latest ones to see the latest posts and not sticking to the top posts, and you won't see nearly as many participants. And if you decide you might want to join in on this little game, talk about your own comic or other creative experiences, check out leannorth.com/artsoundoff, and or if it's easier, just artsoundoff.com. The prompts are last year's prompts. There's kind of like I'm wondering if we're even still doing this officially this year, but there's still things that tell you how to set things up, or you could also do a YouTube vlog like I'm going to do. So prepare for a lot of experimenting, hopefully some good results. I usually do this Monday through Friday, but because the first of the month is on a Sunday, I decided to do this little special thing here. And I'm actually doing it live streaming through YouTube Studio because this is part of the experimenting I was talking about. So I'm going to end the stream now, and until tomorrow's Art Soundoff, I wish you all happy creating.